Picture this. You've been working very hard to grow your business, and you've recently experienced a serious growth spurt that doesn't seem like it's slowing down anytime soon. Even though you're getting new business, you see your cash diminishing, however, and you're not sure how or why this is happening. I'm here with Sue Schnitz, the founder of Perfect Balance CPA. And Sue, this is a situation that is, sadly, it's no stranger to you, right?
Correct. We see this all the time. So one of the first things that I always recommend that my clients do is to get a line of credit for your business before you need it. I call this sleep at night insurance. This way, when you are incurring growth in your business, it's going to take capital. And if you don't have the capital, then you're not going to be able to maintain and sustain your business while you're growing. One of the biggest reasons for failure of a small business is they grow too fast. We've seen that happen quite often. And then there's no cash for the business and you can't sustain the business that you have. And that in turn kills your reputation. So it's really, really important to have that line of credit and to also be able to project out the cash flow needs of that growth. But there's lots of things you can do when you are going through that growth spurt. The first thing is you need to know your numbers. You need to have accurate financials to really know, what does it cost me to run my business? What are my fixed costs? What's my payroll that I need to run my business? What does it cost me to have my space and to have my automobiles and my utilities and everything else that I'm going to have to pay if my business is small or large? And then I have to think about, what about my cash flow? So as I bring in these new businesses or these new customers, I need them to put deposits down because I need them to be able to finance some of the things that I'm going to have to do on their behalf. So for example, if you get a huge sale from a client, you are going to have to go out and source whatever it is that you're selling. So you are going to have to pay your vendor. But if you have to pay your vendor before you collect any money from your customer, you have to know that you're going to have those cash needs. You really need to manage the growth. Sometimes you're better off to almost put things on hold when you're in a growth spurt, because people always want what they can't have, so they'll just want you more. And you need to control the money that's coming in and going out, because you don't want to be caught with no money in the bank and not being able to pay your people and not being able to sustain the business that you have because you're in the growth mode. I personally took on a really large client and had a lot of resources go out before they came in. And I really had to tighten up and make sure that I had my line of credit in place and that I could sustain that growth, and that my client would never know that I was in a position that this growth was costing me, because I didn't want to compromise any of our good service for being worried about that kind of growth. So you just really have to plan, and you have to be proactive, and you have to know what impacts that growth is going to have on your cash needs and on your people needs. Right now, we're in an environment where it's very difficult to hire good people. So if you're going to have to beef up and have more personnel, you are probably going to have to pay for that in advance of that new business going on. For example, we do business with a lot of restaurants. Before a restaurant opens, they will train a whole group of people that are going to go over to the new restaurant to be the managers and the staff and everything they'll need in a new restaurant. So the original restaurant is going to have the burden of those expenses until the new restaurant gets open. So you have to plan for that when you're doing your cash flow models, when you're having any kind of growth in any kind of industry that you're in.
And it's one thing for people to know this intellectually. It's really another for them to understand and to know for certain what those numbers are, right? That's probably, as much as anything, why they get caught short all the time. Would that be fair?
Yes, definitely. You really have to have good, accurate accounting and numbers and projections. Don't pull numbers out of the air. For example, when you're going to have any kind of growth, really sit down and do a spreadsheet and write down your assumptions, because by the time you get up to go get an iced tea and come back, you may have forgotten how you came up with that number. So definitely put your assumptions on your spreadsheet for each number so that you can project out a year or 2 years of what you think it's going to cost you to have that growth and what your cash needs and what your personnel needs are going to be. You don't want to ever overpromise and underdeliver your customers because that's what puts you out of business. And you also want to make sure that you're not killing your employees because they could stop showing up and that would really hurt you. So make sure that you've got all your resources ready to go and that you know what those resources are going to cost you in order to be on that growth track. Sometimes growing too fast isn't always a good thing. I've had other clients who have had multiple franchises, and I've told them, put it on hold for a year or two. Let's build up our cash flow before you open up a new restaurant. And it'll also allow you to work out the mistakes you currently have. So when you open up the next store, you'll be even that much better. But it'll allow you not to have the headaches and the stress of worrying about the cash that's going to happen when you open a new store. It's like building a new house. I don't know anybody who ever comes in on budget. It's the same thing when you're growing or building a new business. You're always going to have some surprises.
Yeah, and actually another thing goes right hand in hand with that is how many business owners fail to kind of plan through and stress test their assumptions. And, if they would come to you and help stress test those numbers behind their assumptions, it could save them a lot of heartache, couldn't it?
Yes, I would like to tell you that I'm so brilliant, but really how I have learned is because I've been in public accounting my whole life, and I've had the experience of living through so many entrepreneurs. My whole career has been with entrepreneurial businesses and high net worth individuals and watching them do really smart things and really stupid things. So it's been a great education that enables my company to share with our clients. We can tell you what works. We can tell you what doesn't work. We can tell you what we see happen to others and the mistakes that they've made. So we're kind of the vehicle that can bring all that together so that you can also benefit from learning from people's success and people's failure. And that's what we like to bring to the table. And we also don't have the emotion. And that's where all of us get into trouble with all kinds of decisions that we make. If you have emotion, then it's harder for you to go in and fire your neighbor or your brother or somebody who's working for you that's not doing a good job. It's easy for me to say, I don't know who this person is, but you need to get rid of them. So it's nice to have someone with no emotion that can help you, guide you with your business. Again, who's going to tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear, because you're going to pay for that advice regardless, whereas your employees are more concerned about their jobs and making you happy. So they may feed you information they think that you just want to hear.
Very, very true. Sue, you have shared with us a virtual treasure chest full of insight here that any one of which could save businesses a lot of money, if not even just save the business itself. What would you say would be the bottom line that our viewers should take away?
If you're on a growth track, and every business owner, entrepreneur, looks at their life as a mountain, whatever plateau or peak they get to, they always want to climb to the next level of that mountain. And that's what builds a really good, that's the lifeblood of most entrepreneurs. But just make sure that you're planning and that you have the right information and that you're not running the business by the seat of your pants. Have good, accurate financial numbers so you know what your history is, and then work on projections so you can project out your cash needs, your cash flow, your personnel needs, so that you're always running that business in a proactive, not reactive mode, and it'll cut down on your stress, and you'll always feel like you can look up the mountain instead of constantly looking behind you to see what it is that the mistakes you've made and how to overcome those, because you want to keep your eye in front of you, not behind you. You want to learn from what happened in the past, but you definitely want to keep your eyes and your focus on what's in front of you. And the only way to do that is just to really plan and have good numbers and good projections and always be changing them if they need to be, and stay in tune to what's going on in the world, in the business world, and in your community.
That's just brilliant. Thank you so much, Sue. And I would just add that this is just a sample of the powerful and invaluable insights that you share with your clients all the time. And there are more where this came from in further videos. And of course, if at any point somebody wanted to get in touch there's a means to do so on the screen, the web page where this video appears. And all they're going to do is click the button and they'll be able to set up a time to have a chat with you. So on that basis, you just say, thank you once again, Sue. I know you look forward to helping people with their finances and so they can have a stress-free business and life. Yeah.
Yes, because being an entrepreneur is so much fun, and everybody who wants to, should be able to really enjoy it and be able to enjoy all the fruits of their labor.